We start off this part back with Professor Snape, who appears with an annoyed look on his face as usual. It turns out that we're back in the classroom, where a giant scorpion-like creature, the size of your mama, oh snap, lies on the table beside him. It turns out that the professor was finding out which student was responsible for writing a specific report that he was sent, and discovers it to be his least favorite student, our boy, Vikir. The report was apparently about the scorpion-like creature that lay dead on the table in the classroom. In the report, it was written that Vikir had written about how Venomous, the name of the creature, has an undiscovered second venomous fangs. This kind of information seemed like a false report to the professor, who regarded it as a joke with fake information, so he was going to deduct 10 points from everyone in the Ice Corps. As part of a punishment to the one who held the theory rank 1, Vikir. Hearing about this, our boy couldn't help but panicked a bit as he realized that he actually made a mistake. It turns out that the information he had written in the report hasn't been discovered in the period he was in right now. Anyways, the professor was quick. He grabs onto a scalpel and proceeds over to the Venopion, eager to cut it open to confirm if there really was a second venomous fang hidden in its abdominal exoskeleton, as written by Vikir in his report. If nothing came out of it, the entire Ice Corps was going to have their points deducted and Vikir would end up humiliated. Taking the sharp scalpel that glimmers in the light, the professor points it exactly in the center of the Venopion body. With just the tip, he makes a small incision, causing blood to flow out of it. The moment the scalpel made the cut, something quick and sharp shot out of the Venopion's body, right towards the professor's head, giving him a headshot. All the students in the classroom were shocked by what happened in that brief moment. None of them could have predicted this happening. For some reason, the sharp needle, covered in a purple-like poison liquid, stopped just barely inches away from the professor's face, who was feeling terrified. He loses his dignity as he falls to the ground, screaming like a little girl over the fact that he almost died. It turns out that Vikir had saved his life by using his book as a shield, blocking the second poisonous fang that he had written about in his report from reaching the professor's face. With a calm look on his face, Vikir questions the professor if he had enough proof right now to validate his report. The professor was busy processing all the information in his head. He couldn't believe that there really was a second venomous fang. He also couldn't believe that a student saw a Venopion and made a big discovery that could solve the cases of the mysterious deaths that had been happening for some time now. In order to regain his dignity, the professor decides to give all the members of the Ice Corps one additional point. He even tells Vikir to come visit him in his research lab after class, in order to provide a more detailed explanation about his report. Hearing that there was no punishment, Vikir agrees to the professor's request. As he headed back to his seat at the back of the classroom, the students around him started to talk about Vikir, calling him amazing for knowing about the second venomous fang. His actions today started to change their minds about how they used to think that sports was the only cool thing in school, but now, thanks to Vikir, being smart was slowly becoming cool. But other students chime in during the discussion, recalling that Vikir was also good at sports. After all, he went against Tudor and Sancho during the match from the other time. Finally reaching his seat, PG tells him that he had done a good job, while the students realized the most important thing about our boy. Which is the fact that behind the nerdy glasses, he was actually hiding his amazing-looking face and glowing hair. Ignoring the noise from his classmates, Vikir began to close his eyes once again, recalling the massive explosion from yesterday night, when he was out hunting the demons at the orphanage. He actually did take on massive damage. The explosion was strong enough to burn off his skin on his body, arms and face, revealing his raw muscles underneath. He even had his hand completely blown off. But luckily, thanks to his skills, he was able to recover from the damages almost instantly. But it still hurts like a ton. Right after the explosion, Afibo had hidden his tracks. The only thing Vikir had gotten out of that interaction was the ledger in the headmaster's safe. The ledge had the location of the children who were used as food for the demons. Vikir could see that as the locations had no connections, he can't completely negate the possibility of more than one elite corpse in the capital. But more importantly was the mysterious shadowy figure he saw in passing yesterday, the one acting cool by standing alone on top of a nearby building from where he was. Vikir had seen him smiling from ear to ear, even wearing the same school uniform as he did. Which made our boy realize a very crucial clue, that amongst his fellow classmates in this room, there might be one of the 10 elites in the academy. Comment below if you think that one of the 10 elites is one of the new characters that have been introduced to us in this new season. Moving on from the demons, in the academy, there is a famous newspaper that exists within the capital. This newspaper's influence is immense, and every day the newspaper is released, it sells out rapidly. This is all thanks to the academy's newspaper club called Lucian, And the glorious president in charge of this excellent club is someone we are all familiar with, hint. She has blonde hair and a wing-like head accessory. Yes, it turns out to be third-year Academy student president of Lucian, Dolores Lune Quo Vadis, who is excitedly welcoming the new members of her club. She knew that if they applied to Lucian, which is rumored to be difficult to enter, means that they were persistent to a certain level. So she excitedly orders for their introductions to begin. The first new member turns out to be first-year Academy student, tutor La Mancha Don Quixote, who tells everyone that he wishes to become an elite in both his class and in the club. The second new member turns out to be first-year Academy student, Sancho Barataria, who tells everyone that he hates how people think he was just a big dumb brute, so he entered the club to become an intellectual. The third new member is first-year Academy student, Sinclair, who tells everyone that money and information usually come hand in hand when it comes to power, but she ensures them that she entered the club because she thinks that information is more important. The fourth new member is first-year Academy student, Bianca Faux Usher. Her introduction was simple, telling everyone that she simply chose the club with the clearest vision, and that she was going to do her best. The fifth member is our boy's boy, first-year Academy student, PG, who stutters in his introduction, but nonetheless, he shouts out loud that he enjoys gathering and analyzing information, which made him think that the newspaper club was the best fit for him. The last member to join is our boy, first-year Academy student, Vikir, who lacks excitement in his introduction, simply tells everyone that it was a school rule that everyone must join a club, so he simply followed PG. But in truth, he had a secret agenda. Lucian, the famous newspaper club of the Academy, was a place where he could easily obtain information. But that there was a catch. The Saintess is here with him, making things slightly uncomfortable. After his introduction, Dolores singles him out of everyone, telling Vikir that he couldn't be a Lucian report with that half-assed attitude he showed. But as she scolds him, the member behind her notices something. She quickly brings out a newspaper article and shoves Dolores out of the way. In an excited tone, she questions Vikir if he was the one in the newspaper, as she actually found him familiar, and couldn't believe that such a famous student would join their club. It turns out that the club had written an article about our boy during the match. The title is, Exclusive. Who is the Ice Corps freshman who appeared in the run-flat match? An unknown freshman who attended yesterday evening's physical education class. Looking at the article, Vikir remained silent while Tutor laughed out loud, pointing out that person captured in the photo was our boy. Even Dolores was clueless about when this report had been released. It turns out that the girl beside her was called Anna, a third-year Academy student, and also the vice president of Lucian. She proudly tells Dolores that she had gotten information about a handsome freshman, so she finds that if she didn't release such information, then she couldn't call herself a reporter. After hearing that kind of answer, Dolores was defeated and took a step back. Anna took over the introduction, revealing to the first years that the second-year students had already gone out to collect news, so she decided to start their activity with everyone that was present here now. 2 articles were presented, with the day, month cancelled out. It was actually something that happened at the dawn of last night. A suspicious unidentified assailant appeared and burned down a certain orphanage in town, down to the ground. Everyone in the club was now sitting around a table, reading articles presented to them. PG was the first to know what it was, and questions if the article given to them was about yesterday's explosion in the capital. Anna reveals that it was true and that on the day of the incident, she had obtained news when he went outside the academy. She further tells PG that the club had hypothesized that the person behind this incident and that the one behind the recent murder in the capital were the same person. What's shocking about the incident at the orphanage was that the majority of the children's bodies at this organ gauge had been identified. After hearing about it from Anna, PG quickly whispers into Vikir's ear, asking him if he thinks that the mysterious person they were looking for was the one responsible. Our boy didn't reply back, but simply thought that the dead children's bodies were the doing of the demon that he was hunting. After revealing all the information about the incident, Anna decides that it was time for them to determine the headline of the article they'll be sending out. Everyone started to write down their ideas about what would be the best headlines, from the birth of a terrible villain greater than the appearance of a monster causing chaos outside the academy, what are the Imperial Guards doing, an unparalleled villain and a challenge to the Quo Vadis family, the children who died suspiciously. Who is the one behind this? After some time, Bianca was reading through what everyone wrote, and said that none of them were impactful enough. Tudor agrees with her words, wondering if it was because the villain's name was still unknown. Giving examples for cruel criminals who have nicknames like Jack the Ripper and Bluebeard were given to them. Anna calls out Tudor's idea for giving the villain a nickname good, which immediately made him give out his idea of a nickname, which was the Death Scythe Shadow Master. which Anna immediately rejects, calling it a shit nickname and sending Tudor down into a sadness spiral. And so, the group started to come out with various nicknames, ranging from the explosion demon that brings misfortune, which was too long, so another suggestion was the orphanage killer, which sounded impactful, while another suggestion was Mr. Terrorist. As the group started to debate against one another over which nickname was best suited for the villain, Dolores was eerily silent, not speaking a single word during the entire discussion. The first words she spoke during this session were the words, "The Night Bloodhound." It turns out that after reading about the incident in the article, she recalled the mask that she had picked up at the scene, which definitely belongs to the Night Bloodhound, making her wonder why he was there at that time. After seeing him in person, she found him as a type of person that didn't want any type of rank or wealth. He even diligently treated the people of the slums who had the Red Death. She could see that his devotion and love towards the poor people were real. Because of those actions, Dolores had thought that Vikir had stolen the Saintess tear for a great cause, but his appearance at the scene of the incident made her question his true nature, making her believe that he might have really killed the headmaster and the children at the orphanage. But she believes that what she saw at the slums was accurate and that he wasn't evil. If the Night Bloodhound is a criminal, then she was sure that he would have his reasons. Distracted by her thoughts, Anna actually hears the name Dolores had spoken out by mistake, which catches her attention. Looking up to the table, she saw that everyone was staring at her. They all liked the nickname of the Night Bloodhound as it was a barbarian tribe's naming style, which sounded really violent. The rest of the group agrees with the nickname, finding it gloomy and negative, perfect for a criminal. Dolores immediately covers her mouth, embarrassed that she had mistakenly mumbled the Night Bloodhound's name out loud to everyone. Seeing that the nickname was settled, Anna suggested the title of the article to be "Who is the Night Bloodhound?" That's filling the capital with fear. But Dolores was quick to defend the Night Bloodhound, reminding Anna that the Lucian articles must only contain the truth, and that it hasn't been confirmed yet if that person is the criminal. As the president and vice president battled it out, Tudor turns to Vikir, asking about his opinion on something. Tudor wanted to know about Vikir's thoughts on whether the Night Bloodhound was evil or not. Our boy simply replied that he didn't care about that, but in his mind, he couldn't believe that he would hear the Saintess say the name of the Night Bloodhound out loud like that. Not accepting the answer that he didn't care, Tudor goes in for a hug, forcing Vikir to choose if he really had to. Seeing that Tudor wanted a real answer, Vikir thought about it seriously for a moment. So he changed his answer and spoke these words. "What I know for certain is that they're not virtuous, so they're evil." Just as Tudor was about to agree with Vikir's words, Dolores slams her hand heavily onto the table, catching their attention. She was standing upright, shocked by Vikir's words that the Night Bloodhound isn't virtuous. Her eyes were completely focused on our boy, asking him about how he was so sure about that. Seeing her reaction, Vikir was actually stunned and confused by what was going on. Even Tudor's hand was sweating heavily as he let go of Vikir's shoulder, sensing the danger that our boy might be in.
Thanks for watching the latest part from the voice of Manhwa. Subscribe for more content and don't forget to comment below what you want to see in the future. Like and share for more.